You're watching Forget Being Cool.
It took its predecessor and did great to it.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Jeff.
All right. This is gonna be coming right out out of the blue. This is the biggest spoiler in Toy Story 2. Snape killed Dumbledore.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't even know how to handle that. Jeff.
Yes.
We rewatched Toy Story 2. This is the Film Impact special Toy Story edition. We're watching the upcoming, we're watching the 3 Toy Story movies coming up to Toy Story 4 here, which we'll cover on At the Cinema with Jeff, me, and the Forget Being Cool family. Let's just call it that.
Depending on when you watch these episodes, it'll be when Toy Story 5 comes out.
No, these will lead up to Toy Story 4. This is the only episode of this show we're recording and know when it's coming out.
Which when some people listen to this, it might be already out, which will be known as the worst Toy Story movie of all time.
I think you're right. Can we just address this? Look, we haven't gotten to Toy Story 3 yet. We haven't rewatched Toy Story 3 yet. I know that I love that movie.
Yeah.
I know because that movie makes me cry every time. Thinking about it is almost making me cry right now. Okay? We rewatched Toy Story 2. Jeff? I'm going to take back everything I ever said about this movie being like, it's not that great.
It's great.
It's a great-ass movie. It's straight up, it's so good.
It took its predecessor and did great to it. They basically told a still sad plot in parts of it.
Right.
They still made it awesome.
Look, this movie may have come out a little bit too soon after the original.
It came out 6 years after the original.
Isn't that crazy? Jeff, that's the world we lived in. This came out and we were all like, we don't need a Toy Story 2. Sequels are always bad. That is what Disney did with sequels.
4 years.
Either way, right? It was 4 years. 4 years, especially at that age, was a long time. But Disney had conditioned us, and I still think they do to this day, to thinking sequels are bad because they make so many bad sequels.
Name a bad sequel. Cars 2.
Cars 2. Back to the Future 2.
Hey, Back to the Future 2 isn't terrible.
Okay, fine. What else is there? The Little Mermaid 2. Aladdin 2. Tarzan 2. Lion King 2.
You know, the problem with a lot of the Disney movie sequels too, even if they're good, the first ones are good. They just make the second one they to video.
Yeah,
they don't.
That's the sign, Jeff. That's the ultimate sign. But that's what they did is they put
Beauty and the Beast 2.
Right, they put out a sequel for everything, Jeff, and
Lion King 2.
Almost none of them are good.
Yeah,
Pixar, on the other hand, right? So here's the era we lived in, Jeff. We lived in an era with no Marvel movies, right?
Yeah.
Which we could argue those are all sequels, and my argument to those would be those get better every time they put out a second one, right? Captain America 2 is a way better movie than the first Captain America. That's not a question. That's a statement. That's the truth.
Yeah.
That we didn't have that. Every time somebody put out a sequel for something, it was one of these direct-to-video garbage. Here's it on the Disney Channel movies. And so we went to this. And look, this does pull a lot of the same kind of gags, a lot of the same kind of tricks. It refers to the old one. It's maybe not as good as the first one, but I would almost argue it might be better in some points, and sometimes it's a little bit worse. It's a little bit of a weird gray area, right? Because we were conditioned to think that, we went into this one like, yeah, that was good. I still like the first one better. And I don't actually know, watching these pretty much back to back, Jeff, I don't think the second one is a worse movie.
No. It's like the difference between season 2 of BoJack Horseman and season 3 of BoJack Horseman. They're both real good.
Right. Uh
I
I
think I think this movie, no, like for whatever reason, Disney is like, all right, we need to make Toy Story 2 just as awesome as the first. Let's forget these direct-to-video crap stuff. This is our franchise.
I wonder if there was something internally they said like this has to be good. Like if it's not good, like I'm sure it was a
We're bankrupt.
Yeah,
This
like
is no.
like I'm sure there was probably an original plan to put this out as a direct to video sequel. And they did that with Toy Story. They put out that Buzz Lightyear thing, that animated Buzz Lightyear show, remember with like the weird aliens?
Yeah, I actually watched that.
I watched that a lot.
Yeah,
I don't remember what it was called. I couldn't tell you any of the other characters.
Buzz Lightyear of Star Command.
Is that all it's called?
Yeah,
What was his friend that was like a tentacle octopus redhead guy? You're like
I don't know.
that's not what he was. He's like a red dude in a space.
I know what you're
helmet.
talking about. I don't know. I just know Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah. And so yes, they did lean into this like
Booster,
oh my god. Yeah, like that's gonna remind me. You can say
Booster Sinclair Munchapper.
that. Wow.
That was his name.
I believe you. I think they leaned into the success of the franchise, but they also knew that if they were to put, an actual 2 on the sequel, like a real in theaters sequel, they were gonna do this right, and they weren't gonna do it if it wasn't right. And they made something beautiful. Jeff,
You know what also pushed them towards it probably?
what?
It's a computer animated movie, and they had to spend a serious amount of money to make a sequel, so they had to make it a theatrical release.
That is possible.
Can you believe that Toy Story 2 cost $90 million in '99?
Wow. Yeah, they had to make their money back. They had to make a return.
Yeah.
The animation is significantly better than the first.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
It looks a lot better. It's still not maybe up to the bar that we are at now, but
That was
that's
20 years ago.
yeah, I know. Jeff,
20 years ago when the Apple was like the Apple II.
we were 7. They were editing on those, Jeff. They
And
had
they were still expensive as crap.
they were editing on beefed up versions of those. Jeff, you boot those things up now, right? You're like, oh my god, this is the slowest computer ever, and it's not any slower than it was then. It's not like the machine got slower. It's just, wow.
Yes, it's also you love this movie.
I love this movie. I have one complaint though.
Yeah, what's that?
The original song that's not Randy Newman, "When She Loved Me."
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those things that they throw in here as I feel like it was like a, hey, Academy, we have an original song. Please give us an award for an original song, maybe. Right? And that song is garbage.
You think that's garbage?
Yeah, no matter how many times I watch this. And I like the emotional weight of it. I like
It was actually nominated for
I'm
Best
sure it
Original
was.
Song. It was. It didn't win.
Yeah, that's because that was the purpose of that song. It's fine. I just don't think it's good. Like I think it's not. It feels out of place. It has a beautiful animated story, of course, like every Pixar little short deal they do.
Yeah.
But I think the movie could benefit from a version without it, and maybe a Randy Newman song. Another Randy Newman song might have fit in there a little better. It doesn't feel true to the tone of the story.
Do you want to hear what other songs were nominated?
Yes,
for,
I do.
In '99, Toy Story 2, When She Loved Me.
Uh-huh.
South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, Blame Canada.
Blame Canada.
Then Music of the Heart, Music of My Heart. Magnolia, Save Me. And did I say Tarzan, You'll Be in My Heart?
Oh, see, that's definitely way better.
Tarzan, You'll Be in My Heart won.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
It won. It was nominated just when South Park was nominated.
And they were running up against Blame Canada, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I don't. But see, Jeff, if you
All right.
think about that for just a second. Blame
Yeah.
Canada for the course of this show is way more impactful than When She Loved Me ever was.
Blame Canada.
So that's
So
that's
this-
my only complaint. Other than that, I love the animation. I love that Newman's basically in this movie. I've got a question for you, Jeff, because you can answer this.
Yeah.
At the
Mhm.
end of the movie, when they're watching him
Yeah.
on the TV, the chicken guy, right?
Yeah.
Newman. He says everything's a buck, and he's crying.
Yeah.
Did he go out of business? Did Al's Toy Barn close because he didn't get the money for Woody, and therefore ran him into financial crisis?
That's a good question.
Because
Everything's up.
that's-
No, I don't think you went out of business if they're airing commercials of it.
yeah, but it was like, here's our big clearance sale. Everything's a buck.
It could be.
I don't know. That's kind of how I interpreted that moment this time watching the movie, and I was like, wow, that's a little bit dark.
Isn't it? Jeez. I think you might be right.
So the toys, for our perspective of the story, did a very, very good
But
thing.
he also stole the toy.
True. That doesn't make what he did right. But
Yeah.
at that, it adds this level of character depth to Newman. I know his name's not Newman. I know his name's Al. But to say that he stole Woody because he was so desperate, right? There's a whole nother level of complexity of his character.
Yeah.
From our perspective, and it's a kid's movie, it's just this mean big guy just stole Woody from Andy's mom, and now the toys have to go on this crazy journey
Yeah.
to get him back. And that's the perspective we get, not that this guy was so desperate to complete this collection because he thought it was the only way he was going to save his toy store. I'm like, that's
You're
actually
spinning that like that though.
it's incredible. No, I think that's what it is, and that's maybe
It's like if you completed your your collection of amiibos, Dave. You got everything, and then you came back, and all of your amiibos, like all the important amiibos, were just gone.
right.
They just spent years searching for. I'd be crying a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought that was brilliantly done. I think the implementation of Barbie using like a real licensed toy character. I know that, some of the toys were previously other toys from other franchises and other
Yeah.
properties. But I think the implementation, I should learn to speak,
Implementation.
of Barbie was really well done.
Yeah. What do you think of the plot turn where the prospector was the villain?
So this is the plot point that I remember going, that's dumb, right? Like as I grew up, I kind of thought that's just a turn for villain's sake, and now that I watch it again,
Yeah.
it completely makes sense
Yeah, it does.
because from Prospector's point of view, his life goal was not to please children, right?
Yeah.
His goal was to be important because he was left on the shelf because nobody wanted a Prospector toy in 1940 when everybody was buying Woody toys.
Yeah.
And
Is that
so
when Woody's toys came out?
I don't know. That's the year I just threw on it. Woody's Roundup, right? Nobody
Yeah.
wanted this stupid toy, so he got to sit on the shelf, and therefore his only perspective for what's important in life is to be admired and be perfect.
Yeah.
And therefore, from his perspective, Woody is ruining everything by taking Jesse away and Bullseye.
Yeah, it's true. He's taking away the entire collection.
He's taking away everything that was important to Prospector, and I'm actually
Man.
100% okay with that whole plot line.
Man, you were close as 1950s.
Okay. I mean, it was record players and old Western cartoon like anime. It wasn't. I guess it wasn't animated. It's a live action. I can't
does
tell.
that make Woody 60 years old?
Yeah, which this gets into a whole nother thing, Jeff, and we'll talk about this in our pre-Toy Story 4 conversation. But I have a theory about Toy Story 4.
Yeah. Who's Woody's owner before?
That's what I want to talk to you about before Toy Story 4. And why doesn't Woody remember what he's from? Yeah.
Why doesn't Woody remember anything except Andy?
Yeah. Isn't that a little weird?
I mean,
we talked about this on the last episode. We're talking about Toy Story 1, how Buzz thinks he's a space ranger, right? And how all the other toys don't seem to have, they don't refer to this period.
Yeah.
Like where they were figuring out that they were a toy.
Yeah.
But Woody, is bizarre because, everybody's like, I came from play school. And, Woody's only history is he's an old family toy.
Yeah, how did Andy get Woody?
The
internet passed down to him.
The internet likes to think it's Andy's dad who's mysteriously missing, which Pixar has said in interviews is not necessarily a creative thing. All the time, it was the animation budget to animate another human in the original movie. So
it could be Andy. It had to be Andy's grandpa's.
Yeah.
Grand Andy.
But that piece of how long has gone by, what made him forget? If Jesse was in storage, right? Jesse, to go
what
back
if
to Toy
every
Story?
Time you get a new owner, you forget everything before?
That's the scary part. Could the plot of Toy Story 4? I know that we're already going into this. Be though, they're gonna forget Andy.
They're gonna be like, "Who's Andy?"
Because they're gonna reunite with Bo Peep, right?
What if the Andy written on Woody is not the Andy we know, but the Grand Andy?
Right. But see, here's the theory, Jeff.
Yeah.
What if because they're getting reunited with Bo Peep, but we know that that's the only part of the plot for Toy Story 4 we know. What if Bo Peep doesn't remember Andy or Woody? Who's to say it's even the same Bo Peep? And it's actually
what if he stumbles into a whole shop of Bo Peeps and there's some adult things that happen?
Anyway, it's amazing, but see, Jesse remembers everything. But I don't think we ever addressed that Jesse remembers Emily after Andy.
No.
So there's this idea. I don't know. It's just a.
Would you consider Al a new owner?
No.
So.
Because it has something to do with the way they play games.
But dude, Woody is in remarkable condition for being 60 years old.
Yes.
What do you think of this movie? Do you think this movie was impactful?
I think
showed that Disney could actually make sequels.
I think that it shows that Pixar can make sequels, and Cars 2 should be. I'm not going to give Cars 2 a pass because it's a garbage movie, but I think it proves that if a studio is committed enough, if there's a story worth telling, they can make something great out of it.
They have to spend years on it.
I think
they spend years in between movies.
I think the plot is great. I think the world building in this movie, this is something to give credit to, right? It expands the world of Toy Story. It's original characters, not just Barbie and, Ken for later, and right? Mm-hmm. It expands that world so well to give Woody a history, to add these characters that are perfectly cast, although Jessie drives me a little bit nuts. Her voice actress, which I know. It's fine. She's good in other things. I think it's a little obnoxious sometimes. It gets toned down.
Did you hear this? I'm just reading this. So Disney originally tried to make Toy Story 2 a direct-to-video sequel.
Yeah, I feel like I have heard that.
But when story reels proves promising, Disney upgraded it to a theatrical release. But Pixar was unhappy. The Pixar team redeveloped the entire plot in one weekend and churned out Toy Story 2 in a 9-month span.
And it's so good.
I think it's as good, if not better, than the original Toy Story.
Yeah, I think so too. And I used to not think that. And I know that there's people in the audience who are gonna feel like we're nuts. No, this movie, just throw away your biases for a minute, right? Watch this movie and just go, like, accept that Woody's gonna get stolen. That's the plot, right? And sure, that could feel a little bit like why this happened, but then you got to realize years have gone by. This is just another one of these toy adventures. We don't know every other adventure that happened in between here, which are probably way less exciting. But there's these ideas of Wheezy. Like, Wheezy's a brilliant character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the way that toys get put up on the shelf and forgotten. A lot of these beautiful, heart-wrenching kind of like, here's the other side that we didn't really tell you in the original. Here's what happens when a toy gets sold in a yard sale. This kind of idea.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it's so good. It's so beautifully animated. Awesome. It's the Cheeto scene where he's trying to get his arm back out of the pocket is so funny.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
it was an awesome movie. It's a movie that capped off the end of the millennium.
Yeah. We're going to go watch Toy Story 3.
Yep, Toy Story 3, and then after that, Toy Story 4. And then, hopefully after that, Toy Story 5.
This gives me so much confidence in Toy Story 4. This movie is the proof. Not the Toy Story, because Toy Story 3, from concept, from the minute we saw the first trailer as Andy's going to college, right? I was going to college. I grew up on these movies. I was sold, right?
Yep.
This is that weird, like, what are they going to do next kind of feeling. Like, that's what this movie went into, and I think they made something great. And I think we might go into Toy Story 4, and we might watch it and go, I don't know if that was that good.
I don't know. Maybe.
And then we walk out, Jeff, and, like, we watch it 10 years later, and we're like, no, you know what? Toy Story 4 is really good.
It has to be good. I mean, this is one of the most widely acclaimed movie series of all time.
Anyway,
I mean, sure, it's the most perfect, I'd say. So far, it's the most perfect. 100%, 100%, and a 97% on Toy Story 3. So.
And let's be fair, the only reason that Toy Story 3 has a 97%, we'll talk about that next week on the Film Impact.
Wow!
I'm Dave Moore. That's Jeff Daly. Of course, you guys enjoyed this. We put out movie discussions every Monday here on Forget Being Cool, as well as sometimes we discuss movie news. Sometimes we go to the movies. Sometimes we do all sorts of stuff. So subscribe to the channel. We talk about video games and music and all sorts of stuff. It's great.
Yep.
Bye, guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Up ahead, you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed. But just remember what your old pal said. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me.